Alright guys, so I'm uploading this video for one specific subscriber that says she's been dealing with schizophrenia or, you know, symptoms of schizophrenia. I'm not sure. I just kind of grazed over her comment a little bit, and she asked what are some helpful tools going through the symptoms I experienced, and how can I translate that into any positive help for anyone else going through similar situations to mine. So I'll I'll start off by saying that I believe what really scared me and triggered me the most is the what I call the chaos stimulation period. Now, this could be the period that you may be going through if you're losing sleep or you can't get your mind quiet or calm down. Um, there are two things that I'm gonna suggest you do. One is try and do grounding techniques, because pretty much what is happening is you're getting lost in your mind's kind of way of stimulation, and you're kind of losing yourself in all that chaos, and which means that you're going to lose motivation over time to kind of like get those things under control. Now, anytime that you have for like 10 minutes, I would say sit in a dark area that's very quiet and just kind of go like this and kind of feel the sensations around you. Be aware of how you feel physically. Like, is it cold in the room? Be aware to how quiet, loud. It should be quiet, but if you hear any noises, be aware of that. That will kind of reconnect yourself to your mind in a space that is more at peace and not so chaotic. And if you practice this, kind of see if you can go inside your mind a little bit more, because I feel as though there's this disconnect where you're kind of getting kicked out of your mind because it's just so, it's going too fast. It's going too fast, and you're not able to catch up to it. And you need to slow that process down. I wouldn't say slow your mind stimulation down. I would say find a headspace where you and your stimulation can exist, as individual entities. Um, and the second thing I was going to suggest is I've done a little bit of research, and actually, if you are really having trouble where even these grounding techniques, they're not quite doing it for you. So it has been proven by research that CBD can be effective in helping people diagnosed with schizo disorders. I would say just kind of like, go somewhere that is, reputable, that sells like these CBD gummies or CBD oil, and find a healthy dose, so that you can feel a little bit more at rest instead of like, all the chaos keeping you up at night. And if you're losing sleep, I would say you would need to practice the grounding technique. Um, I'd say about 2 to 3 times a day, and one specifically right before you go to bed. Um, because for me, it was different, but if I can go back and do it differently, I would definitely find a way to reconnect myself to a more peaceful headspace. Um, I was I found peace in listening to music and having um, like almost like an artificial stimulation through the music. But I wouldn't suggest that. I'm not saying you can't listen to music, but I'm saying like I wouldn't try and quiet your mind through music. I would say do it naturally and organically, because that will lead to um a healthier um brain stimulation. With me, my brain is so quiet that if I go long periods of time without like music or some sort of external stimulation, I start to feel a little bit of like anxiety and almost like a little bit of eh, like discomfort, because I'm just so used to the music, and that's how I quieted my mind. Now, since mine was drug induced, my my chaotic stimulation was a little bit more violent, where there were times where I was in the hospital that they literally had to sedate me with, you know, high doses of Ativan and stuff like that because I just couldn't calm down. I know that this specific video is made because my new subscriber just wanted some techniques and advice. And I'm telling you that it's okay to listen to music, but I wouldn't use it as a coping mechanism. I would try and develop natural grounding techniques as coping mechanisms, as well as being aware of your mental headspace and being mindful to that, and see if you can kind of like tend to your garden, your headspace, over time, because that space will get to know you, and you'll get to know new things within that headspace that will lead you to better paths, and that chaotic stimulation will turn into a more organized stimulation where it will start to work for you rather than against you. um so that would be my biggest advice to someone who's saying like, man, I don't know what to do, blah blah blah. It really starts that you have to make a choice whether um you're just gonna put up with all the chaos in your mind or start to pay attention to it, um and do it in healthy ways that will um, lead to growth rather than just kind of, you know, being stuck in a repetitive cycle. Because I think that's how a lot of us feel, even without schizo disorders, that we feel stuck. And you need to find the root of the problem of why you're stuck rather than just accepting it, because it's going to lead to less motivation. It's going to lead to less answers if you just stay put. If you start doing something about it, doors will open, growth will happen, change will happen, and it most likely will be for the positive. Now, I'm saying that, you know, when I say most likely, I'm saying that if you stop these techniques at any point, or you don't take them seriously, you're gonna fall back into the repetitive cycle, which is what a lot of us don't. Well, all of us don't want to be stuck in the repetitive cycle. So, like I said, suggestions: grounding techniques. If grounding techniques at first seem a little too challenging, or you can't do them or whatever, then I would suggest trying to get some CBD to help quiet the chaos in your mind. All right, you guys, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you learned something. Um, Shout out to my new subscriber for the motivation or for the inspiration for this video. And hope you guys are doing well, and see you in the next one. All right, bye.